Hey, what's up, guys? This is David Chase Taylor of 911truther.org. Today is March 15th of 2026. So, based on breaking news and events, it appears that CIA headquarters located beneath CERN at Lake Geneva in Switzerland is going to stage an assassination event, coma event, or death event targeting U.S. President Donald J. Trump on the evening of March 15th of 2026, specifically to spawn the presidency of one J.D. Vance. So for those of you that are unaware, the 98th Academy Awards, i.e. the Oscars, are going to be happening on live television on the evening of March 15th of 2026 from the Dolby Theater in Hollywood, Los Angeles, California. And it appears that the CIA plans to neutralize U.S. President Donald J. Trump during the live broadcast of this event, which is roughly 4 hours long, if history serves. That is because it is during this broadcast, which millions are going to tune into as soon as Trump dies to see what they say, because, you know, these Hollywood celebrities are notorious for their Trump derangement syndrome. And it is through this Hollywood ceremony that Trump is going to be sacrificed, because the Oscars is in fact a ceremony. It's a satanic, ritualistic, Kabbalist ceremony, and they're going to murder the President of the United States during this event. And then they're going to use their spin machine, otherwise known as Hollywood, to craft a new narrative about a new America and turning the page, blah, blah, blah. But in reality, what's going to happen is that they're going to have simultaneously, they're going to have thousands, if not tens of thousands, of paid protesters go out in the street and celebrate the death of Donald J. Trump. At that point, the Israeli National Police and members of the Israeli Mossad are going to go out and massacre thousands, hundreds if not thousands of African Americans and other minorities, and then they're going to scapegoat it on Whitey, saying that MAGA Trump supporters ran these people over, murdered them in mass, and that this is how they're going to start their civil war. So in order to foreshadow that Trump's demise is imminent, there's been this rumor, I don't know if you caught it online, about this deleted Simpsons episode in which Donald J. Trump dies on March 14th. Obviously, this is less than 24 hours later on March 15th, and regardless if this episode existed in reality, it was carried by Microsoft News, MSM News, as well as a bunch of different platforms, media platforms, that are pimping this rumor, because it doesn't matter if the episode existed in reality or if Trump died in the show or not. It's the foreshadowing that Trump is going to die around March 14th, and that is why they are repeating this rumor, regardless if this was actually written into the Simpsons show. And this is the headline from MSN from March 13th of 2026. It states, "Trump death predictions go viral." And then inside the article it says, "Simpsons predicted death of Donald Trump on March 14th. So this is the seeding that they're planting in the minds of the American public to get ready to flush Trump and move on. So exactly how they're going to neutralize a sitting U.S. president on the night of March 15th during the live broadcast of the 98th Academy Awards, during which Donald J. Trump will be sacrificed in some form or fashion, is obviously not known. But the CIA has spawned a narrative that, two narratives actually. One, that the new supreme leader of Iran was bombed in an airstrike and that he is disfigured. That's one narrative. The other narrative is that on March 8th of 2026, Israeli President Benjamin Netanyahu went missing and is alleged to have died in an Iranian ballistic missile strike. Both of these narratives are likely false, and time will only tell, but they are specifically designed to foreshadow that Trump is going to be nailed by a missile, or his plane or his helicopter is going to be nailed by a missile. And coincidentally, on the evening of March 15th of 2026, U.S. President Donald J. Trump is going to board Air Force One at Palm Beach International Airport in Palm Beach, Florida, and he is going to fly up the eastern seaboard to Joint Base Andrews in Frederick County, Maryland. And then from Frederick County, Maryland, he is going to take a Marine One helicopter to the White House lawn in Washington, D.C. So this two-leg trip is going to prove fatal. Donald J. Trump is not going to land safely on the White House lawn on March 15th because the CIA plans to murder him. And how they'll do that is obviously not known, but the date of March 15th marks exactly 410 days since the CIA staged the crash between a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter and American Airlines Flight 5342 over the Potomac River in Washington, D.C. back on January 29th of 2025. And this Black Hawk helicopter was executing what is called a continuity of government exercise. If Trump is assassinated, they will go to continuity of government. That's basically a default government if the head of state is decapitated, dies, etc. So that's not a mistake. And the fact that he was murdered, the fact that this plane crash and helicopter crash was staged right next to the White House is also not an accident. So the number 410 is intimately tied to Switzerland and her CIA because it is found grammatically or semantically in the official motto of Switzerland, which is all for one or one for all. All for one, one for all. That's 14 for one. All for one, one for all. One for 14, all. So 41 and 14 are intimately tied to Switzerland. It's their motto in Latin. And so obviously if the CIA is going to assassinate a sitting U.S. president, the Swiss CIA is going to assassinate on their numerology. Also, the date of March 15th marks exactly 419 days since Donald J. Trump became president of the United States back on January 20th of 2025. And again, the number 419 is intimately tied to Switzerland. Not only does it contain the aforementioned 4-1, but it also, the number 419 equates to the date of April 19th, 419. And that is when modern Switzerland was created, with the passage of the Swiss constitutional referendum back on April 19th of 1878. And the notion that the CIA is offering blood sacrifices of Donald J. Trump or other Americans on this particular numerology is corroborated by the fact that the CIA staged the Waco massacre, targeting killing over 30 children, because they blood sacrifice the Swiss, they're Nazis, right? So they sacrifice children to their god. And this was on 4/19 of 1993, April 19th of 1993. They killed over 100 people in Waco, Texas. Then 2 years later, on 4/19 of 1995, they bombed the Oklahoma City federal building, the Murrow Federal Building in Oklahoma City, and they also bombed their daycare, killing, I'm not sure how many kids, but I think it was over 100 kids. So that's not an accident. Because this is a number that's intimately tied to Switzerland, and therefore they execute blood sacrifices. So the notion that they would assassinate a sitting U.S. president on this particular date is expected, essentially. And lastly, the date of March 15th of 2026 marks exactly 29,129 days since Donald J. Trump was born in Queens, New York, back on June 14th of 1946. 29,129. This is what's called a balanced number. So you have 29, 1 in the middle, which is the anchor number, and then you have 29. So it's like a balancing number, which is called reflective numerology. And so it's because the number 2 doubles as the letter Z, which is an acronym for Zionism. This number essentially spells or translates to ZZ. And this is the political motivation behind the impending assassination of Donald J. Trump is Zionism, because it's about Israel first, and Trump is about America first, so that is why the first ever Zionist Congress was held in Basel, Switzerland, in I believe 1879, if memory serves. So, anyways. Just to recap, Donald J. Trump is going to be sacrificed in an ancient, esoteric, and ritualistic Jewish blood sacrifice on the evening of March 15th of 2026, most likely while he is traveling from Palm Beach, Florida to Joint Base Andrews in Frederick County, Maryland, or while traveling from Joint Base Andrews to the White House on Marine One. So, exactly how they plan to murder him is not known. Obviously, the plane or the helicopter is going to hit the ground. We know that. How it's going to hit the ground is not known. My suspicion is, because this is going to be the 15th day of the war, 16th total day of the war. 16 is also a CIA number because it's the logo of the CIA has a 16-pointed star. So obviously the war started on the 28th. So the 15th would be the 16th day of war. And so my suspicion is, and this is just conjecture, but given the helicopter crash and the airplane crash, I suspect the Air Force One or Marine One will be targeted with some sort of ballistic missile, or let's say kamikaze suicide drone attack, ballistic missile, cruise missile, drone strike, hypersonic missile strike, or some sort of rocket attack, possibly a man-pad or an RPG attack, surface-to-air missile strike. There's also the possibility that the CIA will stage some sort of an electronic related event. If you'll recall, back a couple months ago, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen was trying to land in Sofia, Bulgaria, and they said that Russia sent a jamming device to jam her radar so she couldn't land. So something's going to bring down the plane. We just don't know what it is. They could fly a cheap drone into the engine of Air Force One. They could send it into the rotary blades of Marine One. It could be anything. But this is what I suspect is going to happen. They'll likely say that it's the Islamic Republic of Iran, that they gave orders to sleeper cells in the United States to Hezbollah, which is a paramilitary group, basically a front for the IDF, that they'll claim that it was Hezbollah. They have a yellow flag with a green symbol on it, with a gun. So it could just be as simple as machine gun fire targeting the blades of Marine One as it tries to land at the White House. We have to remember that the White House is in a residential area with streets, Pennsylvania Avenue. It could come from the park where they assassinated the two United States Reserves. I believe they're National Guard members. I forget the name of the park, but just outside the White House. So this could be anything. They could blame it on likely a follower of Ali Khamenei or a sympathizer, but most likely they're going to frame Hezbollah because this is where Israel has been attacking in Hezbollah, and so in Lebanon, and so they'll likely say that it was a Lebanese. This was the person that they said that a Lebanese guy with explosive rammed his car into a synagogue in Michigan on I believe it was Friday. Excuse me. So it's going to be Israel. It's going to be their Mossad. We know that. Just who they scapegoated on is a question that has yet to be answered, and it will only will only happen after the fact. So anyways, obviously if Donald J. Trump is murdered in any form or fashion, or if he is suffers a medical event or is unalived in any form or fashion on the evening of March 15th of 2026, know that it was planned, orchestrated, and executed by CIA headquarters located in CERN at Lake Geneva in Switzerland, specifically to trigger a civil war in the United States, because that's the plan, that's the master plan. Once Trump is dead, riots are going to ensue, and then there's going to be attacks on those riots, and then they're going to try to balkanize the United States, split it up into a bunch of different territories. This is what has been the plan of the North American Union for many years now, and it's going to commence with the termination of U.S. President Donald J. Trump on the night of March 15th. Obviously, if that happens, I kindly ask that you share, download this video and share it with local, state, and federal law enforcement, military, and intelligence officials, as well as with local, national, and international media outlets. Peace.